What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a couple of different things. I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time on the XRP charts, trying to predict where we could be going as we end 2019 and start 2020, where the prices could be moving to. Are we going to see retracements? Are we going to see potential breakouts? All these that we'll try to address in today's video, given that I try to make the most realistic and conservative approach in my videos. I also want to spend quite a bit of time discussing Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I do want to look at an article that was posted by Bitcoinist.com, which is 1 billion XRP worth 225 million released from escrow. Still okay to hold Ripple token? These are questions that I think are, fairly important, and we should answer them. Now, I did see a couple of comments down in the video that I made yesterday, which was quite interesting, and I wanted to spend quite a bit of time kind of letting everybody know what it is. That's why I pulled up that article, and I think it'll be interesting to discuss it. Now, if you did miss yesterday's video, yesterday we went over a potential video given the XRP rally, potentially seeing prices as high as $13, $55, and $500+ within XRP. Whether it is realistic or a little bit far off, I did make a conservative analysis on that. If you wanted to check it out, it is yesterday's video. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and let's jump into today's episode. So, just a summary of yesterday's video. We did discuss, as you can see right here, the reaction to the imminent explosive rise for XRP. Could we be seeing the $13, $55, and $500 play within XRP? I said it was fairly unrealistic, and I want to give in today's video a more realistic approach to things. Looking at XRP's chart, you can see there's a couple of interesting patterns I'd like to mention in today's episode and continue on with that. Then we do and will look at Bitcoin's chart, because I do think there are some very interesting patterns that are forming within Bitcoin that could be influential to XRP and the other cryptocurrencies. The biggest takeaway from today's episode isn't the fact that I do think these movements are going to be happening very soon. I think we've seen months on months on months of consolidation, and I finally think it's time where we're going to see some sort of reversal within a lot of these cryptocurrencies. But I do want to start off with this very interesting article. So yesterday there were a couple of comments dropped when I made the video discussing that XRP has about 50 billion coins in escrow that are being withheld by the company. 45 billion are actually within the market right now. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that, and people were commenting that I didn't know exactly what I was saying in regards to the XRP being within escrow. So I pulled up an article here that should briefly explain what it is that I was confused with, or that I didn't actually know. Hopefully this answers some of your guys' questions or brings some important news to the tables here. So basically, as we know, XRP is still down about 30% this year, and as of 2019, the year's ends, you can see that the latest unlocking of the scheduled escrow tranche releases 1 billion coins. It is uncertain how many of them would be distributed or sold by Ripple, but you can see 1 billion XRP, which is equivalent to 225 million, is unlocked from escrow at Ripple escrow wallet. The selling may happen to OTC markets or on OTC markets, but in any case, there's a large supply of coins and little demand beyond speculative trading and some limited testing by banks. So more specifically, XRP went as low as 21 cents during the latest sell-off, and some analysts mark this as a buying level. However, holding onto XRP may be counterproductive, and expectations of outlandish gains made by, it may never materialize. XRP is now about 2 years away from peaking at prices of 340. We've seen about 2 years ago, back in 2017, a level never repeated in dollar or Bitcoin terms. Awaiting a new hike to the price of a few dollars is seen unreasonable in investment strategy. The opportunity cost of holding XRP throughout 2019, hoping for insane targets brought to you by some crazy XRP maxis, is nasty. Don't get blinded by those silly predictions and wake up. So he's showing, for example, that, if you held into XRP in 2019, you've, been watching some unrealistic videos, and we've seen a pretty massive dip in the price. And it's basically talking about that Ripple has stagnated in 2019, as we know. It says, in this bear market, yes, I've played with my XRP bags, only in an attempt to gain more XRP. If it blasted off and I wasn't in, I wouldn't have forgiven myself. No more BS. We're getting close to showtime. Even if we dump, it ain't staying there long, which is true. And, it does go on to the topic that, is it still okay to hold Ripple tokens? So yes, as we know, and we can dive into the XRP charting right here, we haven't hasn't been doing so hot in 2019. I can pull up the daily. We'll check out what exactly we've seen in regards to all of 2019. So I'd say the start was about right here. So you can see this is the start, and I'll just grab the date range from 2019, which is right here. This is about what we've seen, and I'll end this right at the end of 2019. So as you can see right here, I've pulled up basically the window this year of 2019. We pretty much started the price at around 40 cents. We went as high as 50 cents, and now we're as low as 23 cents, basically the lowest it's been all year. Is this necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so, and I kind of want to explain more in depth as to why that is. Now, we have to take a couple of things into consideration. Now, when I just extend the charts out, and I want to show you more so what the weekly looks like, you can see right here a very interesting pattern. We know in 2017 we blasted all the way up to $3.30, which to some people was fairly unrealistic, but to others this could be, happening again. But ever since then, we've been starting what appears to be a massive descending triangle. Now, for those of you who know and have been watching the channel, I have been tracking XRP every now and then, and there are a couple of things to take notice of. We can look at the daily. This might be a little bit easier to calculate, but more so, the weekly might be good too. It seems like within this massive descending triangle, we've been seeing smaller ones at that. You can see we've had a smaller one right here, which I'll try to draw. Let me get that out. You can see right here, we have this downtrend right here, this descending triangle, and then another one. We have this downtrend right here. Consider that this is the bottom, and then we break bullish right here. We then start another one, which is right here, which trended sideways and then eventually broke up. We could extend this out. Yeah, this looks about right. You can see there's an even smaller downtrend since this beginning one started, and then we break up. Now we're in another one as we consolidate down, and notice that these trends keep happening over and over again within XRP. Smaller and smaller and smaller, eventually hitting a bottom, which appears to be going all the way back to where the coin originally started from at around 16 to 19 cents. So it's fairly low. Is it possible to see this price, happen once again? We can look at that. We can take consideration that this could happen if we mimic the breakout, the point of breakout. We take our previous charts, we drag them on. Is this possible? We have to look. Is this possible that after a major descending triangle, as we can see right here, could we see history repeat itself, and could we see that break to the upside? Now, obviously, some people are going to argue no, some people are going to argue yes, and honestly, 330 may be slightly unrealistic for where we're looking at right now. One thing to consider, though, is in the fact that because we're coming to what appears to be a 3-year downtrend, because that's what it's been, we have not seen previous highs, since, I'd say, April. We've seen April at a high of 89 cents. We had 58 cents. We had 48 cents. We're setting higher lows, and we're setting lower lows almost. I don't even know if I would say lower lows. We're pretty much flatlined. We found a bottom within XRP. So what I'm trying to get at is in the fact that within this downtrend, we could be speculating a potential breakout to the upside here. Now, most people usually tend to use a price range. They tend to grab the mouth of the opening. I wouldn't really grab this part, this FOMO buying in. It doesn't really add up to the major descending triangle we're having now. But just in this by itself, this is about a 450% jump, just from 24 cents all the way up to less than $1, around $1 exactly. We've seen about a 500% gain. Now, this is still, impeccable. It's still massive. It is still definitely a possibility on the charts. We could definitely see this happen again at some point over here. Around 450% would lead us to about 90 cents, which is still a huge jump from 23 cents all the way up to 90 cents. We have to consider that this is coming to an end. This massive descending triangle is coming to an end. It is coming to a point of breakout. You can see right here, we're pretty much at the end of things here. Before the breakout ever started, you can see there was a slight uptrend within XRP right here. The small uptrend tended to break at around 22 cents, and you'll notice for the first time in about 3 years, XRP has finally come back down to that point. And that, to me, is pretty impeccable. Now, there was an all-time low within XRP, which was around, honestly, we could probably guesstimate around 12 to 13 cents, but I'd say a support was definitely made at 16 cents. You can see that definitely is another option. That's why I have this bottom red support here as well. So there's two possibilities right now. Within I wouldn't even say within 2019, within the start of 2020, come the next 2 weeks into January of XRP's charting, we can see that we're going to be hitting once again our massive white resistance on this descending triangle. This is going to be ultimately one of the two major key breakouts that we could be seeing within here. If indeed we do retest here and close a weekly candle above this resistance right here, this is going to be an indication that we're probably going to start into 2020 in a very, very, very bullish market. Ultimately, we've been in a downtrend. We've been in a bear market for quite some time now. And if we can see this confirmation, I could see one of two things happening. Well, honestly, we could see an immediate retracement up to 40 cents. This is obviously the peak of the high-low MMA. This is the green band on here. That still, once again, is a very, very, very big jump. That's about an 80 or 93% jump. And then we can also take this into consideration in the fact that you can see the top, the red band of the high-low MMA is just starting to form. So if we do see this break, we hit here and then we continue higher up, we could see once again an immediate retestment of that 90-cent barrier. What's interesting too is notice that the top resistance is around 99 cents on the mouth of the descending triangle, and we seem to have the high-low MMA starting at around 93 cents. Now if I show you Bitcoin's weekly, you'll see what's interesting is the high-low MMA is very close with each other. It's very close, which pretty much shortens the possibilities of, let's say we were actually below the high-low MMA, that would be about the range that we head to. But the fact that XRP's mouth is much bigger on the high-low MMA right here, it gives us much more opportunity to see that, perspective correction back up to those higher levels. So when you consider that in play, we could be anticipating an even bigger move all the way up to 340%. These are massive gains. Now, considerably that this is, I want to say a conservative and more realistic approach. I can see a 90-cent XRP token being, challenged rather than a $3.30 gain or $3.30, XRP token. Not to say it's not impossible, but with, coins being released, with the market being the way it is, with a lot of suppression, with FOMO, kind of dying out and people are kind of getting bored of cryptocurrency, I think 330 might be unrealistic in the short term, but I can easily see a $1.99 coin being retested within XRP as we, dive into 2020. Another thing to consider as well is if you look at the weekly, you're noticing a separation within the MACD. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. We did see that bearish cross, but it's setting us up for potential lower levels. You also have to consider that the RSI is fairly undervalued, only at 39. There's plenty of room for us to head higher up. So we are getting very, very, very close to a point that could be a major gain. It's literally one of these two levels. I think the second we retest either 22 cents or we retest 16 cents would inevitably be back in March or in the beginning of March of 2020. We could be anticipating to see massive movements to the upside. Ultimately, that's where I'm thinking this market is going to be taken to, mainly because this is pretty much it. If we break lower than 16 cents, we're into all-time lows. I don't think it's going to happen. And we have a 20-cent, support right here that we've been using for the past, I'd say, 3 weeks. So we need that to consolidate out. We need another retestment of this downtrend, and then we could easily see a potential breakout. There's a lot more possibility there. Otherwise, within Bitcoin, you can see the same thing is also mentioned with it here. So I think XRP could be foreshadowing Bitcoin. You can see there's been numerous downtrends within Bitcoin. We have this downtrend right here. We could even, extend this a little bit lower, something like that, which you can see this yellow line pretty much does complete. I would extend this, or sorry, let me put that back right here. I would pull this one up ever so slightly. So you can see within this downtrend, we broke bearish. Now we weren't at an all-time low, but you can see what happens potentially within a support right here as we headed down to our previous supports of around, I'd say, $3,200. Now, XRP is at all-time lows. It's about to retest all-time lows. Bitcoin, when it did break out over here, or consolidated after the major breakout in 2017, it started to form a descending triangle, which broke it bearish as we were retesting the high-low MMAs. You can see we had a bearish crossover as well on the high-low MMA on the weekly charts. We immediately fell down to a lower support. Now, we weren't at all-time lows. Obviously, all-time lows is way, way, way back in $330, $200 region, but I don't think we're going to be retesting that level. You can see what's starting to happen is smaller and smaller descending triangles forming. We showed you the same thing on XRP as we had this one, and now we have this one within a major descending triangle. That could also be represented on Bitcoin as well. If I take this and extend this out, we could be in a more long-term descending triangle than we anticipated. You can see right here, if I drew that out here and I draw this here, we could have something like this. We could have a very big symmetrical triangle descending channel forming right here. But ultimately, we could still be anticipating that smaller leap within Bitcoin. So you can see right here, we're pretty much coming to an end of what appears to be about, I would say, let's see how many weeks it is, about a 38 week, or 266 day, traveling. This is almost a year now where we've had half the year of an uptrend and half the year of a downtrend. We're been in a bear market for about 6 months now. So as we come to complete what appears to be a major descending fractal symmetrical triangle, as we appear to be retesting the high-low MMA, getting caught in here, we're coming to a point of, extreme support. Now you can see back in the past when we did break bearish from here, we were much more overextended with the high-low MMAs. We're not seeing that right now. We've been separate from the entire time, the entire time. The green band has moved very, very, very far away from the red band. But for the first time in a long time, we're starting to see that creep back up on that. And that is a huge sign. That is a huge sign of potentially a breakout to the upside. If these do manage to cross on the weekly, this could be sending an extreme amount of volume back into the coin and then immediately seeing prices rise back up. Now, we may not be seeing potentially higher movements. I don't think we would be seeing retestments of $20,000. We could see an even lower high, which is honestly anticipated. I think we could easily retest once again 10,500. I think, a more extremist view would be around $14,000 back where the point is of 2020, the high, or of 2019, the highest movement we've had, which was up to $14,000, is definitely a possibility. But you can see that we're coming back down to a point of closing, and that ultimately could lead to another break to the upside. That's pretty much what I wanted to explain to you guys today. I know we didn't go extremely in depth, but I don't want to keep repeating myself in the fact that we are coming in on closing what appears to be about a 6-month bear market, and we could be seeing a run to the upside. Otherwise, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.